Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Raven and today we're going to be taking a look at one of my most anticipated Marvel Snap cards. It's Black Knight. Black Knight is a 1/2 that says after you discard a card, add the Ebony Blade to your hand with that card's power, once per game. First, let's start with a couple of quick notes. To get the Ebony Blade, your Black Knight has to be on board when you discard a card. So if he dies to Killmonger before you discard, then you will get nothing. Also, the Ebony Blade's base power is 0, so you need to think about protecting it from Shadow King to ensure it keeps its power. Okay, now let's get to the good stuff, the deck list. What we're going to do today is give you a good starting point for this card. As always with Marvel Snap, you can experiment with different options as you go, but looking at this list, you can see that other than Black Knight himself, all of these cards are Series 3 or below, so very, very easy to build for anyone who has actually bought Black Knight. The strategy with this deck is fairly straightforward, but gives you a lot of flexible choices as you play. Really, you want to be focused on using Blade and Lady Sif to discard priority targets such as the Infernaut, Giganto, and honestly, even Gamora's fine, to be able to then pull them back with the likes of Ghost Rider and Hela. And while you're executing that strategy, Black Knight just enhances it, especially if you can play him on turn 1. Then you can guarantee that you're going to be able to have a very nice on-curve turn 4 play, with the true goal being Black Knight on 1, Sif to discard an Infernaut on 3, then you can play the Ebony Blade as a 4/20, yes, get your jokes in, on 4. Then you can go Taskmaster on 5, and then either Hela or Ghost Rider to be able to drop the Infernaut back in the game on turn 6. This is simply a ton of stats that you can spread everywhere. So that was a bit of a breakdown of the deck, but now we can get to what you're really here for, which is the gameplay. Okay, so here we go for our first game. Okay, we drew Black Knight straight away. So let's get him down here. This is already looking fantastic. This is the best thing you can possibly do with this deck on turn 1. Oh, okay, we've got Sinister London with good options here with this Lady Sif. So let's see if we can actually hang on here, because we're definitely going to rip this. Okay, this is perfect. Look at the power gain. Obviously, we're going to get 20 or 14 with the Ebony Blade. So let's just see what we can do here. We go Giganto first, which is fine. And now the Ebony Blade, look at it. It's just a 4/14. It shouldn't be allowed. But this is why having Black Knight early is so strong. And I think if you are going to snap, one of the sort of patterns you can look out for is simply having Black Knight early with this deck. Because it makes such an impact. As you can already see, we can just dump 2 Ebony Blades down for 14. And already you can start to see, unless there's exactly Shang, then there's not really a lot your opponent can do about it. I think the meta right now is so wide open when it comes to actually being able to play certain cards that you can just dodge it, right? Yes, we sort of generated the Cosmo in X Mansion, but we also run armor in here as well, so you can help protect some of your big cards with that. Now the choice here is, I think we just keep it simple and just Taskmaster and just get even more power. It'll be, it should be fine, because if Taskmaster gets this Ebony Blade, which it will, then we're fine with Cosmo. We don't really care, because we do still have Hela with a Giganto and an Infernaut locked in. So a little bit of a wild game for us here, because this is not how they always go, but still not looking too bad at all in terms of in power we've been able to lay down here. Even versus the Double Devil Dinosaur, it's just not really a big deal. We can end this pretty easily with just dropping the Hela. And again, this deck is not really like the MODOK Hela decks where you want to just go crazy and flood with that one combo. It's more, well, if you play Hela and it just pulls an Infernaut or a Giganto, even a Gamora, even obviously the extra bonus of Black Cat being in there as well, it just gives you something to do, right? Something to generate a bit of unpredictable power, but also a reasonable amount of power, which is really what this deck is focused on. So we're going to do this. We don't care if it's Limbo. I don't think we can even lose, especially with that Cosmo there. We can always just drop 7 power with the Gamora on the left on turn 7 if Hela doesn't fill it anyway. But as you can see, that looks like more than good enough. Oh yeah, with the Black Cat, there's 3 cards, 3 spaces. So now we can just sit back. Well, or can we? Wait a minute. This isn't how it was supposed to go. Are we actually going to lose with the double Iron Man? Let's see. Devil Dinosaur will go down in power a little bit on the left. Oh my god. We actually got destroyed.
Iron Man. I am Iron Man.
Well, it turns out, Sinister London, with multiple Iron Men, is quite strong. Is it going to be enough, though? Oh, no. We still won. That's how much power we can put out here versus a million Iron Men, the Devil Dinosaurs on Sinister London. We still overpowered it with just raw stats, and a lot of that coming from the Ebony Blade. Okay, so here we're going to get into another game, and oof, as always, the Hela with the Blade interaction not going to do too well here, but it's fine. We can use Blade a little bit later on, and Elektra's been revealed, so that means if we do draw the Black Knight, it feels that ever little bit safer. We can definitely Blade a Giganto, though. We will do this, because this means we can actually, if we want to, if we're scared, we can just choose not to play Sif, although it will reduce the opportunities we have for Black Knight. So let's see, they're going to discard. Oh, it looks like they're playing pretty aggro here. So we get rid of the Giganto. So even just Hela's a good backup plan now, which might be the reason that we skip on this. Let's see how this goes. We're going to pass. We're going to let them do the thing, let them draw the cards, let them fill the board. Oh, we could still play Sif kind of on curve next turn. Ooh, we have Black Knight, though. Let's think about this. It's really tricky with Hela and us having used Blade. So let's just play the Black Knight anyway, because it's still reasonable, right? It's still stats, even if you don't get to use the Ebony Blade. You still just want to just throw it down there. It's not going to hurt. A little bit adventurous, but again, this is why we include a card like Gamora. So then, oh, okay, even better. Wow, okay. So this is why we play a card like Gamora. And again, this deck is just a starting point. You can definitely experiment with different things, but Gamora is something that can really help us out power-wise, because suddenly what looked to be a little bit of a lackluster game has now recovered, even though we've not had a chance to really go off. Now suddenly we have more options, right? We have the 4/9 Ebony Blade, but now we actually have Giganto and the Black Cat locked and loaded. And I think because of the way this has turned out, I think I'm going to play Hela here and hope we get nothing else on the sides. Okay, I'll take it. And that's why, for example, Hela, you don't need to go crazy and discard your entire hand all of the time. Hela's can just be a reasonable 6-drop. If you discard one big card and you see the Black Cat go away, as you can see, plenty of power. Okay, here we go. We do have Black Cat locked in. And this is an interesting one here. Because we have Blade, we can actually choose to skip this turn, so Black Knight doesn't generate the 9-power Black Cat for the Ebony Blade. So I'll show you what the plan is here. Because we have Black Knight and Blade available, so Black Cat discards, that's fine, no problem at all. But we didn't generate the Blade because Black Knight isn't on board. So the hope now is we can play the Black Knight now, and then because we drew Sif, yeah, we don't really want to do that, so we'll pass. But this lets us be a little bit more picky sometimes on where we're going to discard, what we're going to discard, and how big that Ebony Blade can get. So at the moment, we can guarantee a 7, which we are probably going to pass on again. We're going to see if our next draw is going to be bigger to maybe still give us those options in the slightly later game. And there's a Giganto. So suddenly, I mean, we can go for the Blade now to guarantee the Giganto. And this should be pretty good because we can Blade first and then we can play Sif. So Blade, because it goes first, will guarantee the discard on the Giganto and give us that 14 power Ebony Blade. And then hopefully we can build off that because we have the Ghost Rider to potentially hit the Gamora or the Giganto. And we have the Blade, so already that's turn 5 and 6, already good to go. It just looks so strong when like this game looks like a fairly slow game from us, but the amount of power we can just push out now is pretty ridiculous when you think about it, especially if we get to draw like a 2-drop or something to be able to play with. So again, we can just guarantee it over here as well. So we could just go Ebony Blade mid. and then we pretty much have our choice of what we want here. We can go Taskmaster to guarantee a 14, or we could go Ghost Rider and Luke. So in this instance, I would go Ghost Rider Luke, just because we should have enough power on the right to win any given turn here, unless, I don't know, they do something really wild. And the Luke just helps just push mid a little bit more because it's exactly Baxter building. Now I'm going to put it on the left. So yeah, there's a Giganto coming out the Ghost Rider, Luke Cage coming down, America Chavez is not going to cut it. So again, you just see the power where, in a very simple fashion, Black Knight kind of gives you 2 Ghost Riders in a way, which is very, very strong indeed, especially when I've shown before that you can Ebony Blade into the Taskmaster. So we had so many options at putting out raw power. And that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments any crazy Black Knight decks you've come up with. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.